And the final book review is today's speaker, Michael Schratt. I got to tell you, I'm a visual guy. So this book is just, I mean, it hits the spot. Just briefly what it says here, a fully illustrated book details 20 historical UFO cases, which were secured from multiple research centers around the United States and had never been seen before. In addition, the publication also highlights multiple UFO encounters, many of with beings reported. A few cases covered in this book, the mystery airship wave of 19, and then it goes on and talks about. I gotta tell you, knowing the stories and then seeing the illustrations that Michael has put together, it's just amazing. And I've got one special note on this. His book it's not in hard copy, it's in Kindle. But if you don't have a Kindle reader, which I don't have, you can go on Amazon and for free, you can download a Kindle converter and read the book on your laptop. That's what I did. I got that, then I ordered the book and I read the book on my PC. You didn't have to have a Kindle. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. And that's my book reviews for this month. Okay, this is why you people showed up. You didn't show up to hear from me talk about books and cases and stuff. Well, you might have wanted to talk about cases, but today's headliner, Michael Schratt, is a private pilot, an aviation historian, investigated UFO encounters for over 25 years. Between 2008 and 2009, Michael meticulously reviewed a minimum of 50,000 cases in an effort to maintain an important part of our national history. Recreated dozens of highly credible UFO cases by using drawings, illustrations, and commissioned artwork. Many of these include USO, unidentified submerged objects, actual extraterrestrial encounters, and prehistory UFO cases. He has appeared on multiple media platforms to include the following: Coast to Coast AM, History Channel, Paranormal Matrix, UFO Hunters, Fade to Black. Guest speaker at multiple UFO conferences, including the following: Phoenix MUFON, Orange County MUFON, International UFO Congress, MUFON Symposium, and UFO Con. And with that, Michael, it's all yours.
First of all, thank you for giving me the opportunity to join all of you. It's a privilege. And the title of this presentation today is UFO Magical Mystery Tour, a pictorial history of lost, forgotten, and obscure UFO encounters. I've got today's date on here. One other thing, John, it's really nice to see you. Really nice to see you, John. Just give you a couple of brief announcements of where I got this information. And I want to provide this to you so that you can verify the sources that I'm using. I'm just not making this up. These are the sources of where I'm getting.
His audio went out.
Audio went out? Let's see.
I can hear him just fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I could hear fine.
All right. You want me to continue?
Yes, please.
Continue. Okay. The visual aids used in this presentation are computer-generated forensic composite illustrations which originated from actual UFO case files and eyewitness reports. So the sources are COMUFON, 2457 West Peterson Avenue, NICAP, APRO, MUFON, Invisible Residence by Ivan T. Sanderson, which I highly recommend, Uninvited Guest by Richard Hall, David Marler UFO Collection, UFO News Clipping Service, Wendell Stevens Archives, Leonard Stringfield's collection, and of course the Gray Barker UFO Collection, and that's Clarksburg, West Virginia. That's where this information is coming from here. Now I want to kind of hit the ground running, and I'll see if I can get this down. Okay. I want to just kind of start here, and this is a little wordy. I generally don't read too much in these things because I keep it visual, but in this case, I think we have to. So I want to lay out the timeline here, and this has been verified by Don Schmidt. So you're getting the real thing here. And I'll start with this one. July 2nd, 1947, 11:59 p.m. That's when the crash actually took place because people heard a large explosion between the thunderclaps. And so we've got that time to very late July 2nd, 1947. July 3rd, early in the morning, it was rancher Mac Brazel and 7-year-old Timothy D. Proctor. They arrived at the debris field and discovered a large area of land covered by strange wreckage. They also discovered a gouge on the ranch measuring approximately 10 feet wide and 200 feet long. So it appears from what Don told me that the way they did this back at the time, back in the day, is if you were old enough to walk, you were old enough to ride a horse. So it was Mac Brazel and Timothy D. Proctor that actually got to the debris field that morning. So July 6, 1947, Mac Brazel drives into Roswell and arrives at the Chaves County Sheriff's Office to report the strange wreckage. He carried with him a small box of material recovered from the debris field. July 6, 1947, KGFL radio station manager, announcer Frank Joyce calls the Roswell courthouse looking for any late-breaking news. Frank speaks to Mac Brazel and relays the same story he had just told Sheriff George Wilcox. Brazel also drops a bombshell and tells Joyce they weren't human, clearly indicating he had seen something more than just crash debris. July 6, 1947, late afternoon, evening, Jesse Marcel and Sheridan Cabot drive from Roswell 519th Bomb Group to the vicinity of the debris field and spend the night at the Hines house. July 7th, 1947, in the morning, Jesse Marcel and Sheridan Cabot arrive at the debris field and examine the wreckage in person. July 7th, 1947, late afternoon, evening, military arrives at the impact site and discovers a strange egg-shaped craft with a hole breach on the side. 2 dead alien corpses are recovered, badly decomposed and wearing tight-fitting silver-colored flight suits. Okay, 1 entity was discovered still alive. So bottom line is there were 5 bodies recovered, 1 was still alive. So 4 were dead. Special note, 2 additional dead alien corpses were discovered approximately 2.5 miles west of the impact site. An ambulance, truck, 2.5-ton 6x6 troop transport, 2 Jeeps, and a large lowboy tractor trailer participated in the recovery operation. Special note, there are reports that a crane from Roswell was used to hoist the unknown object onto the flatbed trailer. Reports from civilian witnesses who had arrived at the impact site before the military confirmed that the powerful floodlights were seen, indicating that the military had officially begun the retrieval operation. July 7th, 1947. Late in the evening, Mac Brazel arrives at the private home of radio station KGFL owner Walter Whitmore, Sr. to do a wire-recorded interview, which was later confiscated by the military. Now, we'd love to get our hands on that, but that's probably gone. We're never going to hear that. July 8th, 1947, very early in the morning, 2 a.m., Jesse Marcel drives back to RAAF, which is Roswell Army Airfield, and then drives home to show his wife and son pieces of the wreckage. It is here that young Jesse Marcel Jr. discovers strange writing on the inside wall of the I-beam. And we'll continue on here real quickly here. July 8th, 1947, morning. This is the first body flight. There were 2 body flights. First body flight out of Roswell occurs in a C-54 piloted by Pappy Henderson. This flight was flown in the raw condition and the bodies were exposed to the air inside the fuselage of the C-54. This flight flew from Roswell Army Airfield directly to Wright Field, Dayton, Ohio. July 8th, 1947, 11 a.m. Colonel William Blanchard issues the famous press release that the military had retrieved a flying disc. July 8th, 1947, 4 p.m. Military convoy consisting of 2 Jeeps, a large lowboy tractor trailer transporting a strange egg-shaped craft covered by a tarp, and 2 additional Jeeps following from behind are seen driving down Main Street in Roswell. The entire convoy was seen by at least 1 paperboy and multiple additional eyewitnesses. July 8th, 1947, 4:15 p.m. Military convoy arrives at Roswell 509th Bomb Group and drives directly into the east side of Hangar P3 Building 84. This hangar serves as the central command center for the entire Roswell crash retrieval operation. 4 dead alien bodies were laid out on the hangar floor with 2 child-sized caskets sitting nearby. A large wooden crate packed with dry ice was built to contain the 2 caskets in a desperate effort to reduce the stench of the rapidly decomposing bodies. I know it sounds gruesome, but that's what we're dealing with here. We've got reports from Don, who interviewed members of the 509th cleanup operation team, where when they got done cleaning up the debris field, they had to burn their clothes to get rid of the stench. That's the only way they could get rid of the smell. July 8th, 1947, B-29 Dave's Dream leaves Roswell and flies to 8th Air Force Fort Worth, carrying Jesse Marcel and pieces of wreckage. July 9th, 1947, second body flight leaves RAF and flies directly to 8th Air Force Headquarters, Fort Worth, Texas. This flight stays below 10,000 feet and is flown unpressurized. The cargo bay of B-29 Straight Flush holds the large wooden crate containing the 2 child-sized caskets inside. Special note, on the evening of July 8th, the large wooden crate was stored at Atomic Bomb Pit Number 1, protected by 2 circular rows of perimeter screens, until B-29 Straight Flush could be taxied over to accept its historic cargo. And then finally here, July 9th, 1947, multiple Roswell witnesses confirmed seeing Mac Brazel being escorted through downtown Roswell. He was brought to the offices of both the Roswell Daily Record and Roswell Morning Dispatch, where he was forced to recant his original statement. He was also taken to the offices of radio stations KGFL and KSWS. So that's kind of the overview of what we're talking about here. Now, everything I do is visual here. So what you're looking at now is a photograph taken by Don Schmidt. This is, ladies and gentlemen, the exact location of the impact site. So this would have been July 2nd, 1947, what it would have looked like maybe on the morning of July 3rd. But you can see it's a barren landscape, a few bushes, some very slight low rolling hills, and that's it. It's featureless. It's very featureless. So what we want to do is we want to take you through a couple of the scenes and show you what it may have looked like to keep things visual here. So this is the morning of July 3rd, 1947. And we've got rancher Mac Brazel and 7-year-old Timothy D. Proctor. They were both on horseback, and they did see the debris field. They picked up some of the debris. We know that because Mac Brazel brought some of it into the sheriff's office, so we know he did that. And we've got the gouge that was about 10 feet wide and 200 feet long. So this would be the scene the morning of July 3rd. So moving on. Now, I believe this to be the most accurate depiction of what the crash scene looked like. This has been pretty much authorized by Don Schmidt. So here you see in the foreground, you've got an egg-shaped craft with a dome on top, and it was the size of a Volkswagen Beetle. You've got 3 bodies here that we've shown. 2 of them are dead corpses. 1 was still alive. They were wrinkly. They were squiggly. They looked like Casper the Ghost. That's how Pappy Henderson described it. He flew the first body flight out of Roswell. He described them as looking like Casper Ghost. They weren't green. They were white, almost, pale white in color. There was definitely an ambulance truck on site. We know for a fact that this thing took place near the windmill and the water tank, so we've shown that as well. We've got the 18-wheeler lowboy tractor trailer there on site. We've got a Jeep on site, and then we've got military personnel that cordoned off the area. And this is one of the cases where civilians got to both the debris field and the impact site prior to the military. So it was kind of a new thing at that point. So this is July 8th, 1947. Now, later in the afternoon, around 4 p.m., a very interesting convoy had gone down Roswell Main Street, consisting of 2 Jeeps on front. the lowboy tractor trailer with a egg-shaped craft on top that was covered by a tarp, and then at least 2 Jeeps following from behind. This went right down Main Street. There were multiple eyewitnesses that saw this, including one paperboy who actually did speak to Don Schmidt later on. But this was definitely seen, and we got it right down to probably plus or minus 5 minutes. It was 4 p.m. on the afternoon, late evening of July 8th, 1947.